What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing 8-hour short ribs. Everybody likes a good short rib, so let's get to it. So I have a little bit more than 3 pounds of short rib here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put some pepper, some salt, and then healthy dusting of flour. Alright. I like to season my paper towel because it helps to dry the meat, and I don't want to touch a lot of stuff after I touch the meat. I want to minimize the amount of times I'm washing my hands because it's irritating. So I just over season one side and then I flip them all around. This is just kind of to help create a little bit of a thickening for the stew. Alright, so I have my oven preheating to 200 degrees, really low because we're going to do it for a really long time to make them really tender. And that's not really going to make the water boil at any point. So you want water to be boiling before you put anything in. So I'm going to put my stock in a pot on the stove and get that boiling. So let's set that up right now. Now, you might be wondering why I said stock and I put a bunch of water in here. I prefer to use this bouillon concentrate. It lasts for a long time. I always buy a thing of stock, don't use the whole thing, and then it goes bad. So this is a solution to that. Will this fit in? Oh yeah, okay. So this is chicken stock, but I don't care. You take a good tablespoon of it. Is this salted? It is salted, so I'm not gonna put any salt in it until after it's dissolved, just to make sure I don't over salt anything. I'll bring a little salt. So you can see it's very hot. I turned it down a little bit just because we don't want to smoke up the whole kitchen. Now it's gonna get really loud, and sorry about that. So this audio is gonna be trash. Oh God. So, I meant to get a large white onion while I was in the store, and I forgot to. So, we're going to use 2 shallots instead. Shouldn't really matter too much, but what are you going to do? Now, if I had more garlic, I would use more garlic, but Taylor's not the biggest garlic fan anyways, so I'm going to keep it to 1 large clove for right now. You see that? Garbage pile behind the flour. And now I have the inability to open things. I really like these containers of pre-chopped carrots and celery that I get in my grocery store just because I never need a whole thing of carrots or a whole thing of celery, so it helps me waste less food, and they're already chopped and I hate chopping carrots, so this is a lot easier. It's about as small as I want them, I don't really care. And I don't like the texture of celery, so I'm going to just chop them up a little smaller so they kind of integrate better. For how many kind of There we go, that's our celery. Last but not least, carrots. We're not going to be super careful about this, but it's going to break down in the cooking anyway, so it's okay. Oh god, they're already making my eyes go off. Oh fuck. Oh fuck, it's happening already. Oh god. Fuck. Fuck. Oh god. Wait for myself. You come to think of it, I'm going to put a splash of wine into the boiling stock just for flavor. Now the beef's done searing, I'm going to put it into my 2 containers. If you have a bigger container or like a Dutch oven, that would be ideal, but I don't. So I have these 2 8x8 cake pans, so I'll be right back. Okay, now that our beef's seared, we're going to sear up our vegetables and we're almost ready to put it in the oven. So this is already very oiled up because of the oil and the beef fat, so we're going to throw in the onions, carrots, and celery. Now, I'm going to put in a heavy amount of pepper. Good amount of salt. So, you could do herbes de Provence or something with this, but I don't have that, so I'm just going to use a little bit of Italian seasoning just to get some fresh herb flavor in it. There we go. Now in a little hole in the middle, put our garlic. And about 1 tablespoon of tomato paste. We're just going to cook it off until it browns a little bit, get some of that raw tomato flavor off. Start integrating everything in. Now in hindsight, I probably could have just done this whole thing in my cast iron, but I like making my own life more difficult. We all know that. Now that everything is softened, I'm just going to pour my stock and wine mixture in. Stir it to make sure we got all the good stuff off of the bottom. Let's bring it back up to a boil really quick. Take out a piece of tin foil big enough to cover them both. You can see that I have these on a sheet tray. That's just to make them easier to handle and in case anything boils over, even though it probably won't. So I'm just going to pour our broth and vegetable mixture into here. I'm going to let it cook for about 7 hours. Then I'm going to put a potato and some frozen peas, and I'm going to let it cook for another hour, and then dinner is ready. Oh, big hot. Oh, it's like a delicious facial. These guys. We're gonna throw them in. See you in 7 hours. Alright, so it's been about 7.5 hours. The meat is tender, but not as tender as I would like it to be, so I'm gonna get a head start on the potatoes. Speaking of, change in plan, I decided to make mashed potatoes instead. I don't know why, I figured maybe it would leach flavor out of the sauce. I'm gonna reduce the sauce, so instead, we're making mashed potatoes. That's what we're going to do while this is finishing. I also turned the oven up to 275 just to help it finish off. It's still not going to be enough to make it tough, but it'll be a little better. Okay. Now is the moment of truth. And now to test, I've just been kind of stabbing at it with a fork, and oh yeah, that's where I want it to be. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna let these cool. I just want the fat to separate out so it's a little bit easier to scoop off, and having the beef cool in this residual heat kind of helps. So we're gonna let this sit until the potatoes are tender, and then I will be right back. Okay, so now comes the most fun part of any sort of slow cooking meat that has a lot of fat in it. And by fun part, I mean worst part of the entire bit. I remove stresses from cooking whenever I can, like my pre-chopped carrots, because I hate chopping carrots. I should just buy a gravy separator, but what are you gonna do? I don't make sauces like this enough, so we torture ourselves instead. Cheers. Alright, so it's not the end of the world if we can't get all the fat, and it's not the end of the world if we get some of the solids. We just want to remove as much of it as we can possibly manage. So this is going to be a very, very slow and painful process, so instead of hyperlapsing it for your sake, I'm simply going to pause it, because this is just too much. So I removed as much fat as I can bear to remove from these. The final trick is to take a paper towel and to ever so lightly lay it in. And it should remove some of the fat, whatever is left over that you couldn't get. Now comes the fun part. So, we've got the cast iron that we used earlier, and we have a mesh sieve. I'm gonna just transfer the meat for this because it doesn't really need to participate. And we are going to push this through the sieve. And just make sure we get all the veggies. Now do the same thing. Go meat to the other pan. And we're gonna do the other pan. Alright, we put all of the liquid contents and the vegetables into this here strainer. And now we're just gonna push them through to get any sort of vegetable goodness that we can, to get all the rest of the moisture and to kind of help thicken the sauce. So I'm just going to keep going at this until I feel like I've gotten everything I can out of it, and I will show you the next step when I'm done. Alright, so I strained everything. I left a few carrots whole just so I could feel like I was eating vegetables other than potatoes. And now we're just going to boil this 10, 15, 20 minutes until I feel like it has reduced to the amount that I want it to. I'm going to stir it every now and then, and that's about it for that. Here's our final product. Serve it up with a nice mason jar of the wine that you made it with, and you are done. Thanks for watching, everyone. Like and subscribe, leave a comment if there's anything you want to see me do. I'm gonna get eaten because I'm hot and I'm hungry. See you later. Bye!